So today we're going to explore some cool reverb and delay tricks on the Elektron Syntakt. So this first trick that I'm going to show you is the sequenced delay pan trick. And I think this sounds really cool. And unlike the Digitakt, on the effects track on the Syntakt, you can sequence or trig lock certain parameters on the effects track, which I think is pretty cool because on the Digitakt I've always wanted to be able to sequence delay and reverb parameters. So I'm going to show you how we can do this. Now I've got this really simple pattern where I've got a kick on the one using the bass drum, and then I'm using SY tone on track 5, and it sounds like this. Very, very simple. As soon as you add the delay, it kind of starts to work. So we've got a very generic delay going on here. So we're using 1/8 dotted. We've got the delays center, and we're not using ping pong, but we could. But what we're going to do instead is I'm going to sequence the panning. Now there's two ways of doing it. We can go to the effects track, and what we can do is we can go to the delay once we're on the effects track, and we can do this. Which already sounds pretty cool. What I like to do, which is much quicker, is to make sure I'm in live record quantized. Just quickly put something together like that. So you can hear the delays now moving around. Now if we go to the mute page, turn the effects track off, put the width back to center, you can hear it's just a normal delay. Put the effects track on, and you can hear it moving around now, which sounds really cool. What you could also do is then initiate ping pong, which kind of fills it up a little bit more. It's obviously not as distinctive in the way it moves around because you're constantly getting left and right coming out. But I feel like this still has the movement, but it fills up the stereo mix a bit more. And also just adding a little bit of reverb to those delay tails sounds quite nice as well. You can hear the way it is reacting to the filter movements. We get all these really nice little delay tails moving around the stereo field. If I wanted to, could record that in as well. Very nice. Another little trick that I like to do is sequencing the delay time. This can start to sound a little bit weird, but we might be able to get it to sound pretty cool using trig lock. So we're going to be a little bit more precise this time. So we're on the effects track. Let me just double check that. On the effects track, yes, we're on there. And then I am in record mode. I'm going to hit function and press delay. Now, I really love the sound of tape delay. I love the sound of delays being a little bit uneven. You can do this with an LFO by sending it to the time and just adjusting it a little bit, or you can be a little bit more precise on certain trigs and adjust the time like this. So what I'm going to do is just play the sequence, the one that we had last time. And I'm just going to go in here and start to move the delay time about. Maybe what we'll do is put 1/8 on every single one. So you can hear it there, right? Oh, that's why. Let me just bring this one back. That sounds really good. And you can get super wacky if you want. And add some stuff in there like that. But we're just gonna go for subtle for this. That sounds pretty cool to me. And if you wanted to, you could increase the delay feedback on certain parts of it like this. Obviously what you need to do first though is lock this into a specific value first. And then what you can do is go in and make certain areas of it a little bit kind of higher on the feedback. You could also live record quantize or run quantized if you want to. And just get a little bit of movement going like that. Let's also automate the frequency as well. Are you enjoying this Syntakt tutorial, and would you like to develop your Syntakt skills even further? Well, I do have a 14-hour Syntakt mastery course available, which is split into 4 parts. The first part, the introductory course, is absolutely free, and you can sign up to that by clicking on the link in the video description below. And then following on from that, we go through beginner, advanced, and expert, which will take you through basic sound design right through to the advanced features and loads of tips and tricks, which often people don't really think about. And I'll be pushing the Syntakt to its absolute limits. I will say though, the introductory course is super basic. It's basically there just to give you an idea of how courses are structured in the learning portal, and also to give you an idea of my teaching style, which you are already familiar with from watching my YouTube videos. So don't wait, click on the link in the video description below, sign up, and I'll also send you some offers as well to get discount on the Syntakt mastery courses. So my name is James Orvis, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this tutorial. So I'll just quickly show you the other option as well. I have reset the effects track now. So the delay is just a little bit more normal. It's not got all that movement going in. And then what we can do is we can go to the LFO on the effects track and we can go to delay time. This is the other way of doing it, which will give you that tape delay vibe. So that's the way of doing it. It just makes it sound more analog. Obviously that's way too much, so maybe just a little bit like this. This next trick also sounds pretty cool, and it's quite similar to the last trick that I just showed you, but this time we're going to affect the reverb's pre-delay. So pre-delay is a delay, and if you shift it around, then you still get that kind of pitch effect like you would with a tape delay. So let's have a listen to this. But it just sounds really cool because it's going into the reverb decay. So there's definitely many different ways we can do this, and I'm just gonna clear the effects track and we're gonna go to track 5 and just make sure we're only sending it into the reverb for now. And then we're gonna go back to the effects track. I'm gonna go to LFO and we're gonna change this to Reverb Pre-Delay. Just find that again. And I actually much prefer the sound of this. I think it sounds great. Now the beauty of doing this is that we can go to track 5 and we still keep our delay intact as well. Now you could take this a step further, and if you wanted to, you could copy LFO 1, put it on LFO 2, go to delay time, obviously go for a much lower setting. Speeds as well, and now we've got a reverb pre-delay and also a delay time kind of going in and out like this. If we go back to track 5 now, let's turn delay back off again. Let's go to the reverb again. You can also increase the pre-delay so it kind of acts like a delay as well. Like if we go back into the effects track, just turn this down a little bit, it's way too much that. That sounds pretty cool. And now let's add that. Just a little bit. So we can do that with it, or we can bring it back down again. And the other thing we can do as well is we can sequence and trig lock the pre as well. So let's go back to the reverb. And what I could do is I could just do it manually like this. Put it on unquantized. So you can hear it doesn't work as well actually using that method. But if we want something a bit crazy, what we could do is we can clear that off again. Go into the LFO, put this on random, that sounds pretty cool. Obviously a little bit less of that would sound better, so let's go to track 5. Just a little bit in the background, quite subtle. So yeah, the idea is that you can combine these techniques that I've just shown you. So if we go back to the delay now, just record some of these in. So now I want to show you a little performance technique using the reverb to create a stop and start reverb tail. What I found with the reverb is if you function reload, the reverb will carry out like this. So you can reload the pattern and the reverb will tail out, which is pretty cool, I thought. So I would expect it to go like that and just cut out when you reload, but it doesn't. So what that means is you can kind of create a build up like this, or maybe we deviate on the sound itself like this. Like come up with something completely different. Maybe we create a kind of small build-up like this. And we want to kind of stop and reload, so you can hit stop, reload, and then when you're ready to come back in, so I thought that was a pretty cool little technique that the reverb hangs. Obviously, you can put it on infinite if you want, and then you can press stop, reload, and drop back in whenever you're ready. So we're going to try a little experiment now. Can we come up with something really cool using the delay time and the reverb time? So just something really off-piece, like really mangling it, taking it really far from where it is now and using that as the starting point. So it's not going to be a melodic techno by the time I finish with it. It's going to be pretty nasty and weird. Right, so the idea is what we can do is if we go into the settings, we can go to the audio routine and to the main we can turn off track 5. So it's only going into the delays now. Let's just turn it up a little bit. That sounds cool. And what I'm going to do is just turn the reverb off for now. So now you can hear it's just the delays, right? So what I'm going to do now is go to the effects track, put on live recording quantized, and we're just going to go nuts. So it's going to sound very weird at first. It's probably going to sound weird all the time, but you know. It sounds nuts. Right. Bear with me. That could be useful. Could work that. So what I'm going to do now is send delay and reverb into the effects track. Turn up the drive. Bring down the filter. But then what we need to do is just hit these ones if they're trigless, and it'll turn them into trigs. And then we can use the filter just to give it a bit of control and make it sound more in time. Maybe what I'll do is turn up the effects a little bit. What does it sound like if I put the kick in? That sounds pretty cool. So what I'm going to do now is copy this kick and put it on 2. And I'm also going to copy the trigs for the kick as well. turn off the effects routing so that one kick goes into the effect, so it pushes down everything, and the other kick is clean. Sounds pretty cool. That's passable for a start of the track, and then let's put some hats in now. We can always experiment, sending more elements into the effects as well. And then let's just save that now, because that's pretty cool as a starting point. What I might do is copy this pattern, go to track 3 now, oh sorry, pattern 4, and then we can do like a variation of it. So if I go to effects track, and now I can record quantized. Just put a clap in. What does that sound like? No. Getting a little bit carried away here, but it sounds good. I like it. Let's just put some noises in there. Let's go back to the original pattern, see what that sounds like. Yeah, pretty cool. That was just a little demonstration to show you how wacky you can get with the delay. And with the Syntakt, you've just got to think outside the box. Like, when I first got this machine, I would just put a very basic kick, snare, clap, hat down, and then just put a little melodic bass in there or a melodic lead. And as I've started to work through this course and experiment with it more and more, I'm starting to realize that the power of this machine is in doing weird stuff with it. Like just setting out with that challenge, like, can I make something melodic or weird or synthy using just a delay time and trig locking that? Where can I go with that? And then you end up somewhere completely unique and weird.